Hey everyone, thanks for coming to our session. This is a Buddhist meditation on emptiness session series. We have covered first two sessions in our previous week, which is the importance of realizing emptiness and stages of the realization of emptiness. In today's session, we will talk about realizing emptiness through recognizing the nature of mind. So we'll cover the true nature of mind in the following weeks. So in case if you missed the first two sessions, you can go to our YouTube channel to watch the video. So we also provided a guided analytical meditation on emptiness. So if you're interested, you can go there to listen to the guided meditation as well. In this session, we're talking about realizing emptiness through recognizing the nature of mind. We'll cover below items. First, introduction to Larunga Buddhist Academy and Khenpo Sodagi. Second is Khenpo Sodagi's talk on the same topic. The third one will go over the important points from Khenpo's teaching and Q&A, and followed analytical meditation. So Larunga Buddhist Academy was established in 1980. It was founded by His Holiness Jigme Phuntsho Rinpoche. It is located in China, Sichuan province. Since then, it starts to become one of the largest and most influential centers for the study of Tibetan Buddhism in the world. If you can see in this picture, a lot of red cabins, whereas practitioners live. In peak time, there are more than 10,000 practitioners full-time practice Buddhism. So this is a Grand Sutra Hall. So where they study Mahayana, Sutrayana, and Vajrayana teachings. So this picture is people walking around a temple and Larunga. And this picture is the practitioners who live in Larunga Buddhist Academy. As you can see the picture, they're like so happy and funny. Even the real living conditions are not so good. So Khenpo Sodagi is one of the spiritual leaders in Nyingma lineage. As Varaguru and the Dzogchen lineage holder, Khenpo is empowered to transmit Vajrayana teachings and practice from Tibetan to Chinese. He emphasizes a systematic approach of listening, contemplating, and meditating on the Dharma. He has a lot of translations in Chinese. So here we're a group of the practitioners which follow Khenpo. We translate a lot of teachings from Chinese to English. If you are interested, you can always go to khenposodagi.org. And Khenpo has been teaching over 30 years. In Tibetan Buddhism, the gurus and lineage transmission are very important. So Tibetan Buddhism lays much emphasis on lineage transmission that has been passed on till today from the Buddha to our teachers. It carries great power continuously and without interruption. Without receiving such transmission, one is not allowed to teach others, however wise and skilled he might be. the uniqueness of Tibetan Buddhism. We'll talk about 4 aspects of uniqueness here. The first one is precepts. All practitioners have to follow corresponding precepts, which is the basic guidelines for the behavior. Precepts are the foundation for practice, just like the earth. Without the earth, nothing can survive or grow. And without precepts, no practice is possible. The second one is listening to the Dharma. Learning the Dharma requires a wise guru. Guru, also named Dharma teachers, are the most important for Tibetan Buddhism. The third one is contemplating. The fourth one is meditation and practice. This is our lineage transmission chart. The teachings is transmitted from Buddha Sakyamuni all the way down to Khenpo Sodagi. I have covered this lineage transmission in my previous videos, but here I only want to mention like Guru Padmasambhava and Mipo Rinpoche, because we have a few slides. We're talking about those 2 gurus in next slide. So in Nyingma tradition, there is the lineage known as Terma, which is treasure, which comes from the great master of Udayana, Padmasambhava, who, after coming to Tibet, manifested all the many common and uncommon Dharma teachings for the king, Trisong Dongzong, and his followers. So as you can see, on the top of this slide, there is termas. They then gathered this together in order to protect and preserve the Dharma for the central beings of future degenerate times, and concealed them as mind and earth treasures at appropriate times as a source of benefit and happiness for the central beings and the Dharma. In the right side picture, this is Guru Padmasambhava, and the 7-line prayer. These teachings are coming from the Terma. We have this teaching in our website. We can study it together in the right time. So His Holiness Jimen Phuntsol Rinpoche, which is the founder of Larunga Buddhist Academy, he reviewed numerous termas in this life. So as you can see in the picture in the left side, those are the termas he reviewed. He also reviewed a lot of termas in his previous life. From Khenpo Sodagi, no matter whatever you believe in Buddhism or not, it is important for you to know the nature of your mind. The myriad of suffering experienced by human beings are rooted in ignorance of this nature. The 2 methods to realize the nature of mind are analytical meditation and stabilizing meditation. So I will play Khenpo's teaching. This is Khenpo's teaching in Temple University in US in 2014. Khenpo's teaching is in Tibetan, so I will pass the Tibetan teaching and go to the translation directly.
That is what I'm going to say for the approach that involves analysis. As for the other approach I mentioned, which is the contemplative meditative placement, then to understand emptiness from that perspective, you just look directly into the mind without analyzing. As the great Nipan Rinpoche tells us, that it's not necessary to look and try to analyze all the myriad phenomena that are external. Just turn within, just introspect, and only focus directly into the subject itself. Another quote from the great Indian master Saraha from his spiritual hymns. And he tells us, completely eliminate the thinker and the thoughts. That means mind and object of mind. Rest in the mindless state, like a newborn child. So, just as the quote tells us, by eliminating the process of thinking and even considering who is the thinker or the apprehender, just rest in this mindless state, like a newborn child, a child that has just come out of the womb. Now, whether you are falling asleep, dreaming, even if you can, distracted, when you are overwhelmed by conflicting emotions, whatever the case may be, you should look at your mind at that time. That's the main objective that's being presented here. This subject was dealt with by the great Nipan Rinpoche in his Lamp of Certainty, which he composed at age 7, where it states, just like gazing directly into space, one's mind is inherently empty as it is present. So in its presence, it is inherently empty. And this is telling us that whatever is going on with the mind, it's your mind that you are dealing with. And if you understand that primordially the nature of this mind is empty, which means that it has never actually existed, that it is non-existent, then when you are feeling a passion such as anger or any other passion, you can determine that the nature of this passion is unborn because it doesn't really exist in a non-existent mind. And so you can just rest in that moment. You can do this within your own mind. It's difficult to know what's going on in the minds of others, but you definitely are the one who knows what's going on in your own mind. So whatever is going on there, rather than holding on to that and pursuing that objectively, you just gaze right into the ascertainer, the mind itself, and you identify that as being non-existent and empty, and you rest, and you will see that all of those reactions are naturally pacified. That I just quoted from this Lamp of Certainty, Rinpoche asked if it has been translated into English, and we replied, yes, it has. Rinpoche wants to know if any of you have read it. Have you had a chance to study it? Young to write anything comprehensible at age 7, so it might not be worth it, but really that's not the case. You should check it out. So this is not really a discussion of the, let's say, the elimination of passions and the establishment of wisdom awareness. This is rather the emphasis of actualizing the correct, perfectly correct view. And in doing so, by sustaining a perfectly correct view, then a perfectly pure wisdom will emerge as a matter of course in an ineffable way. And so this has become something that is so inexpressible that great treaties have been dedicated to the subject, which is referred to in texts such as the Uttara Tantra and the Ornament of Certainty and so forth, where it mentions, and Kemche gave the quote, which means that on the subject we're on, one must know how to identify the nature of one's own mind in terms of developing a perfectly correct view. And so the perfectly correct view is the viewer of itself. And in that context, to view in a qualified way the nature of who you are is the most precious discovery.
Rinpoche mentioned here the approach involves analysis, and another approach is contemplating meditation. Then, to understand the emptiness from that perspective, you just look directly into the mind without analyzing. As great Minpo Rinpoche tells us, Minpo Rinpoche is the master's lineage. It's not necessary to try to analyze all the external phenomena. Just turn within, introspect, and only focus directly into the subject itself. This is turn around to ourselves and look into our mind. So another quote from the great Indian master, it's similar. Completely eliminate the thinker and the thought. Rest in a mindless state like a newborn child. So normally we use newborn child is because the newborn child doesn't have dualistic mind. So they don't have subject and object. So just as the quote tells us, eliminate the process of thinker and thought. Rest the mind like a newborn child. Now, whether you are falling asleep, dreaming, distracted, or overwhelming by conflicting emotions, you should look at your mind at that time. That is the main objective. This subject is dealt with by Minpo Rinpoche, who composed The Lack of Certainty by age of 7. So Minpo Rinpoche composed these teachings by age of 7, as you can imagine. The great masters behave, or what they did is really out of our imagination. So it says, just gazing directly into space, one's mind is apparently empty as it present, so in its presence. It is inherently empty, and this tells that whatever going on with the mind is your mind that you are dealing with. And if you understand that primarily the nature of this mind is empty, which means it has never actually existed, and it is non-existent. Then when you are feeling a passion such as anger or any other passion, you can determine the nature of this passion is unborn because it doesn't really exist in a non-existent mind. And so you can just rest in that moment. Kampo said, you can do this with your own mind. You can definitely know what's going on in your mind. So whatever is going on, then rather than holding on to that and pursuing that objectively, you just gaze right into the ascertainer in the mind itself, and you identifying that being non-existent and empty, and you rest. And you will see that all these reactions are naturally pacified. So this is really not a discussion of the elimination of attractions and the establishment of wisdom awareness. So we don't need to create something or avoid something. Basically, it's here. It is rather the emphasis actualizing the perfect correct view. By sustaining the perfect correct view, then the perfect correct wisdom will emerge as the matter of course in an infallible way. It has become something that is so inexpressible that a great treatise has been dedicated to this subject, which is referred to in a great master's text were mentioned. Can you give the quote, which means that on the subject we are on, one must know to identify the nature of one's own mind in terms of developing the perfect correct view. So the perfect correct view, that is the viewer itself. And in that context, to view in a qualified way the nature of who you are is the most precious discovery. So I will not cover analytical meditation in this video. And I will also skip Q&A session. So this is our online course every Sunday, 7 p.m. It's a Tibetan Buddhism book study, The Word of My Perfect Teacher. This is the guide to the preliminaries for the heart essence of vast expanse from great perfection. The textbook is written by Patu Rinpoche. It's also our lineage master, interpreted by Khenpo Sodagi. The great perfection, another name is Dzogchen, is a profound Dharma direct resulting in enlightenment through direct mind pointing method. Please register in meetup if you're interested. And with our current study of preliminary of the great perfection, which is the word of my perfect teacher, Khenpo said everyone is also required to participate in the actual practice of meditation. Mainly what we will meditate on is based upon the Longchenpa's preliminary practice instructions of finding comfort and ease in the nature of mind. We have series Longchen Nintik non-dual meditation on our YouTube channel. There are totally 94 sessions. If you are interested, feel free to watch them yourself. We have completed today's session. Thank you. We'll see you next time.